Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell. And here at This Is My Moment, we love having a good time. We love meeting new people, and we love laughing.
There ain't no stopping it. This is my moment. Join the movement. We bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.
Today, I got a young man with me I can't wait to hear from. He talks about business. He talks about growing small businesses, and who knows better than me about trying to grow a business. But I want to see what he got to say. Introduce yourself.
So my name is Drew Donaldson. I'm the CEO of GroHaus. We're a growth strategy firm that helps service-based business owners scale between the what we call the growth gap. So these are business owners usually at $5,000 or $10,000 months that want to make it to the kind of holy grail of 20K and 50K months that everyone's looking for. So we help fill that gap between doing all the marketing yourself and trying to hire an expensive agency. And that's what we do best, is take people over that chasm.
I dig that, man. And I'll tell you what, I'm a small business over here, man, and help is needed.
Yeah.
Man, like it's the grind. It's the grind, and it's the I didn't knows, and it's the man, what happened here? And I was researching you, and I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I'm gonna read it. It says, our coaches provide personalized attention, actionable insights, and hands-on help to all small business owners that need to conquer the biggest challenges. This is the part I like. That's why our clients love us like crazy. I'm gonna tell you what, man. When you put that on there, love you like crazy, you got to be doing something. What are you doing over there?
I mean, here's the thing. In the coaching space and the consulting space, the kind of par for the course is that you see a guy like me on TikTok and he says, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. And then who shows up on the call that you booked on his calendar? Oh, well, it's an SDR. And then you talk to an account executive. And then eventually it's like, I'm never going to talk to this guy. No, actually it's an on-demand course, but it's cost thousands of dollars. Yeah. So the thing that makes me there's a million courses like that, right? That small business owners get suckered into every day. The thing that really sets me apart is I said, listen, it's my value system says that in order to help you, I know I need to help you one-on-one to some capacity, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, just in a small group session. I need to have, in order for this to work and for me to actually provide value, a value that's worth your investment, I need to be involved. I can't be phoning it in from Bali because, hey, I got my second in command going and taking it over. And that's why our clients really love us, because at every opportunity, we defy the expectation of the industry. So where everybody else would say, well, at this level, I'm only going to do these large groups. We're like, no, we're going to cap our groups at 10 so that everybody has a chance to speak and ask questions and actually get some personalized attention. When everybody says, oh, you can't make any money doing one-on-one sessions, it's like, no, we're going to figure out how to make it work. Yeah. So at every point, we're customer focused. The most important thing is that every one of my clients feels like this is a good investment at the end of the night. Yeah. If one client feels otherwise, that doesn't feel good for me, right? So I'm not one of these quantity guys. Yeah. I'm all about quality.
Dig that. What's funny that you said that. When I first started doing motivational speaking, right, I had this gig. And I was kind of hurt because it was only 10 people, right? It was just 10 people. And I'm talking to my wife, right? And I say, babe, it's only 10 people. She said, you know what? I don't care if it was one person. You go in there and you give them everything that you got because they're paying and they're trusting you to give them something back. And that's what I'm getting. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. It doesn't matter how big it is because they're going to get 100% of everything that you got to offer. How close am I?
Oh, 100%. So when we first started, this is a great story. When we first started, we started with an unbelievable offer. And just to give some background on my experience so that when we're talking prices, people kind of understand the context. I've got 15 years of marketing experience. I've worked for Fortune 500s. When it comes to marketing, I am more than qualified to help anybody grow their business, pretty much. But what we did when we launched was we said, for $99, I will meet with you for an hour a week, right? Which is insane, right? That's $25 an hour.
Yeah.
And we did that on purpose because we wanted to create an offer so good that we could test all the facets of this, right? What our upsell pipeline would look like, what our retention would look like after 30 days, 90 days, you know, a year, that kind of thing. And so we launched for the first 6 months with this unbelievable package. We still have clients on that package today, and we still honor it. We've never raised the rates because it is too important to me that those people that gave us the legs to stand on are treated and are honored in the way that, like, listen, you invested in me when we were nothing. We had no clients. You were willing to take and give me some trust. I'm going to return that favor and say, you know what? Yeah, I know I'm only making $25 an hour when I go and meet with you. I'm okay with that, though, because you were there when nobody else was there, and you've stuck around. So that's the whole thing, man. It's not about the money. It's about how many people I can help doing this, because I really I've talked to other coaches who are all about like automation, optimizing, and it's just so funny to me that they choose to be coaches because they've gotten so far away from actually coaching people, and that's what I really like. So like, I'm like, no, I don't want to automate stuff. I like being in the room with somebody. I like having those conversations. So that's kind of that's been my focus from Jump Street.
I like it, man. I like it. When COVID hit, were you in business when COVID came?
So we actually started January before COVID. So we started at the worst possible opportunity, but we really made the most of it. I mean, I worked all through COVID. I did not have my Netflix binge dates or anything like that, like everybody else did. I was hustling.
You out there getting it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you. So I'm reading up on you, right? And I came across it says North Star. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, our North Star framework. Okay. So with our clients, we've really distilled we've helped hundreds of small businesses since we started. And we've really figured out that there are 4 key elements. They're foundational elements that I would say 99% of small business owners get wrong in some capacity, right? It could be a little bit, could be a huge bit, but they're the story of the business, the experience of the business, the technology the business is sitting on, and the strategy to take that business to market. And I know those seem like big buckets, but they're very intentional, because when you start with the story is not only the stuff that you put on your about page, it's how you position your offer, it's how you address the market, it's your voice, it's your tone, it's all of the branding elements that separate Target from Walmart, right? Like, people don't think about brand story when they're thinking about big brands like that, but there is a defined brand story between those two. Just like you need to, if you're a motivational speaker, you need to have your own story against Tony Robbins.
True
right?
Story.
So when we're looking at this kind of these 4 elements, they all build on each other. So once you have your story straight, then we can move on to the customer experience. And this is, again, like, so many guys are great at what they do. They're technicians in their business, and they forget that after the transaction doesn't stop after the credit card swiped, right? The transaction continues for that person that just bought it. So like, making sure delivery is ironed out, customer service is ironed out, like, so many opportunities can be missed if you're not creating remarkable experiences. And then the technology to put all that together, to have that story and be able to broadcast it out. Things as simple as having a website that's set up correctly for marketing makes a huge, it's a huge deal. And people just don't, I think people have gotten away with not being savvy at marketing. And I think COVID was really the eye-opening moment for a lot of people, where they're like, I got to get good at this. And so that's where this all came from. And then the final part is the go-to-market strategy. Most people, when they spend money on marketing, they just like, hey, I'm going to run a Facebook campaign. All right, how do I do that? I'm going to watch 2 hours of Facebook tutorials, and then I'm going to launch a campaign, and then I'm going to get cold feet after a week and turn it off. And then I'm going to be like, I just spent like $100, and I don't know what that did. It didn't do anything. And then you like, well, I'm never going to do that again. And then 2 weeks later, you're looking at your empty calendar and you're like, got to
Yeah.
do something. All right, let me try Facebook again. And so instead
Yeah.
of having like a clear go to market, you're just like shooting stuff off in every direction, hoping something sticks that you
Yeah.
can hang on to.
Yeah.
So those are really the 4 elements that we focus on when every new client joins our program.
Dig that, man. That's huge, because I'm a firm believer, man, in having a solid base. The foundation to me is huge, and that's not just with business, man. If you don't have a solid foundation in life, you tend to wing a lot more, and you tend to lose a lot more when you start winging with no direction, right? And
Yeah.
I'm an old military guy, right? And I tell people, I said, you know what's fun is marching in place is still marching. Your feet are moving, but you're not moving. You're not going anywhere. You're just standing there bumping your feet up and down. But once, like you talk about, once you get that base and you get that foundation and you know what direction and how to pitch it and how to move, now you put that one foot in front of the other, right? And now you're making your progress.
Well, and that's the whole thing is I think a lot of business owners feel like marketing is either beyond their capability or it's something you just have to be naturally born good at.
Right.
And they so often like just give up on themselves that, hey, I'm never going to be able to get this. And I can't tell you the number of people who initially call me because they think I'm kind of a traditional small business agency that's going to like do your SEO and social for, you know, $100 a month or something and outsource everything to India or the Philippines. And it's like, I say, you know, why don't you think you can do this yourself? Oh, I don't have any time to do it. Okay, well that's acceptable, but like how much time do you think this would take each week? Oh, I mean, it would take hundreds of hours. And I'm like, well, why? And like you start asking questions and scratching away, and it turns out it's like, no, it's they think it's going to take hundreds of hours because the one time they tried to be on a calendar, they were following Gary Vee's advice of doing 60 pieces of content a day. And it's like, you know, Gary Vee's a smart guy when it comes to content marketing. There's really none better. But 60 pieces of content is when you're 21 years old and you don't have anything better to do. That's who does 60 pieces of content a day, right? It's not for a 40-year-old with a semi-mature business who's like doing everything themselves. And it's like, oh, great. Now I have to fit in like what, 6 hours of filming a day?
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. So I think that's the vicious cycle people get stuck in. They just they can't see their way out of it until they run out of money.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I saw you said that you're going to help them crack the entrepreneur code, right? What's entrepreneur code, man?
So it's really 4 skill sets that you need to be really proficient in. You don't have to be experts in. You just have to be proficient. And if you invest the time to become proficient, building any type of business becomes unbelievably easy. And they really come down to copywriting, public relations and customer experience, paid media, and the ability to arbitrage. So to buy and sell, buy something for less than you sell it for. So these are the kind of things that after teaching so many entrepreneurs and walking them through kind of our foundational steps and figuring out where their weaknesses are, like I'm telling you, you could put those 4 things in a business school class and graduate a fleet of entrepreneurs that would be better qualified than anybody that leaves school with an MBA, because those 4 are really the things that at the end of the day, those are the game changers. Your ability to communicate with the public effectively, your ability to write convincing or persuasive sales copy. You can't beat those. Knowing how paid media works, knowing how to buy attention, and knowing how to conduct arbitrage. I mean, these are just foundational elements. And it's surprising how many entrepreneurs, just either one or all of them, are just not very good at them. They're really good at what they do, but when it comes to those 4 things, it's kind of like, I missed that day at school.
I was sleeping late. Yeah. All right, I like that. So here, how do you keep your clients motivated when they're not seeing that growth? You know what I mean? So a lot of people, including myself, like, you want it just right now. I want to pay you the money. I want you to spit out me some papers, and I want it to be from 0 to 100. How do you keep them motivated when it's not that right now growth?
So I like to say there's really two types of people. There's people who know there's no shortcuts, and people who are shortly going to find out. uh that's really it. Marketing is not a sprint. It's not a quick down and back. It's a marathon. And the reason why so many business owners fail at marketing is because they treat it as a sprint. They treat it as a thing like buying a lottery ticket, where it's like, I'm going to put a bunch of money in this and it better work. And instead of looking at that money as an investment and saying, well, what did we learn from that campaign? Well, we learned that audience costs this much. So if this audience costs this much, and we know what our cost per acquisition is it worth advertising in this way? Like, you don't get those lessons for free. They all have a cost, and that cost is the investment you're putting into paid media. So at the end of the day, when I'm working with a client and they're like, oh, I've been spending all this money and I'm not seeing anything. I say, well, don't say you're not getting anything. Let's look at all the things we learned here, right? So we learned that one audience, and I just had this happen with a client, really wanted to focus on this one audience. We ran the ads. Yeah. Ads got tons and tons of engagement. No one signed up for the webinar. Tons of likes and shares and thumbs up and comments. Oh, unbelievable. My phone was pinging so much from them. I had to turn like that account off on my phone so I would stop getting notifications, because they were coming in so fast and furious. Not one person watched the webinar. Wow. And so now you can look at that, and over the course of 30 days of running this campaign, or 60 or 90, whatever the time frame is, you can look back and you can go, okay, we clearly hit on something with that ad, but we're dealing with a market and we're providing a service that market is not interested in. The messaging is not the problem. The messaging is resonating, but how we're framing our service in conjunction with that messaging, they don't care. They do not care at all. And so that client decided, you know what, I'm going to kind of pack up shop for that audience. I'm just not going to offer those services anymore. And so now he's taking the money he would have spent there and shifting it over to audiences that are more profitable, that have more potential. And so he wouldn't have known that unless he bought the ticket, right? So like, all of these things are investments that you have to look back and you have to acknowledge repeatedly how far some people have come. And so that's something we really focus on, is like, not just keep you pushing forward, but asking like, hey, how did that work out? Did you get any leads from that? Is that, and if you did, if someone, I had a client today who's getting dollar leads from Facebook, which is like unheard of. And, we spent like 15 minutes talking about how awesome that was for her and what it meant for her to now have this tool and to be able to put $1 in and get $2 out. And it's like, she was really excited. And so capitalizing on those moments of excitement. And then when people are struggling, say, remember, like, when we started, you weren't this far. Like, you've come so far in this process. Like, just hang in there. Like, it will get better. There's peaks and valleys. There's times when my advertising hits, and there's other times when it doesn't, and I'm like, man, I can't get anything to work. Just the way it is. Yeah.
And you kind of touched on my next question, man, with clients and expectations and things of that nature. What do you think is like one of the biggest misconceptions that your clients have in this new digital age? When we were doing newspapers and we didn't have all the social media aspects of life, right? Now you have all these different avenues. What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that your clients have in this new digital age?
So in 2008, content marketing became really popular. Right. And I don't think it had anything to do with the recession per se, in terms of its successfulness. But the reason it was tied with the recession was because people were looking at a global financial collapse, and none of the old ways of communicating with buyers on social or otherwise was working. Everyone is at an economic standstill. And so one guy, Marcus Sheridan, who was a pool salesman out in, I think, Virginia, he came up with this crazy idea that we now today call content marketing. And content marketing was done prior to that, but he was the one that kind of revitalized it and started this kind of mantra of, they ask, you answer. And so that has been like the preached gospel of small business marketing for the past decade and a half practically, because it seemed so simple, right? Like, people have questions, you produce content that answers questions, so people buy from you because you're the trusted authority.
Right.
And it makes a lot of sense, but it put a tremendous amount of stress on these business owners who don't know how to create content. They're not writers, they're not bloggers, they're not video producers. And so you have all these business owners who are just like trying everything in the world to create content and failing, and they feel like because they're failing at this and they're failing at content marketing, it means that they're just doomed to failure, because it's like, well, this is the thing everybody says I'm supposed to do. The reality is, content marketing isn't going to work for probably 80 to 90% of the businesses that try it. And the reason it's not going to work is because it's misguided and they don't understand the true value of producing the content. So, for example, people assume that, you put content out online and you just magically get an SEO bump. Right. Not if it's not the right content, not if you don't submit it to Google to have it crawled. If you're posting video content without text, that doesn't have really any value to it. So, right. If you're posting are you posting a YouTube link or a link from Vimeo? There's a difference there. So there's so many things that you need to know about content marketing, and content marketing has been so oversimplified that the way it's pitched to small business owners is a recipe for failure, because it just doesn't work the way people think it does. You are much better off coming up with an unbelievable ad that has a great offer and running that to paid traffic and having an unbelievable landing page that converts. All of those are worth investing in first before you ever start developing content. Until you have all of that stuff done, don't even worry about content marketing. It's just it's not that important.
Yeah, I like that. That's a big one. And I'll tell you what, man, as a small business owner, everything that you're telling me, man, is game. This is what you pay for right here, brother. And I appreciate you giving us this free game. So, hey guys, take a listen. He's giving you something for free. Let me ask you this. Yeah, it's a true story. You know I'm right. You giving it to me. Let me ask you this though. I see on your website, right? And I'm on there and I'm looking at it. It says that if your clients aren't satisfied with the way that you're doing business, that you're going to give them their first month membership feedback. What inside of your program makes it so special where you can offer a refund on help?
So because the kind of help I can bring into a business is really transformational. There's no better way to put it. I have never once had someone take me up on that return offer. We've been in business well over 2 years now, and not once has a client said, hey, I want you to make good. I want you to refund the money, no matter how much I was charging, by the way. So, the $99 plan isn't around anymore, or at least the way it used to be isn't around anymore. But whether it's $99 or $1,000 a month or $2,400 a month, whatever you're paying me, I'm going to give it back to you, because I'm not interested in taking money from people who can't use my help. And I know that after meeting with me just one time, you're going to be convinced that, like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. This is if someone's going to get me beyond that $10,000 plateau that so many business owners sit at for years to try to get to that next level, I'm your guy. It's some people are good at baseball. This is just what I'm good at. So
I get it. Toot your horn, brother. Toot your horn. No one sells yourself like you, man. And you spot on. But let me ask you a question. When you're not having your best days at work, right? And you try to find that motivation to sit back down in front of that computer, man, what do you go to? What's a go-to quote of yours? Or do you have anything like that dude, this is you back up?
This is gonna paint me in a weird light. I gotta tell you. Well, not too weird. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I watch Mike Tyson fights.
I dig it. I love it.
So I grew up watching Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like, the man is unbelievable. Like, I don't know how many of your listeners are boxing fans. I'm a huge boxing fan. Okay. And I just watch his stuff because he's so surgical in the way he fights, and he's so aggressive that watching him just gets me amped up. Like hearing the bell ring and hearing him like run across the ring to Mitch Green is just like, I will play that fight over and over and over.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's it. That's what gets me motivated.
That's it right there, man. I love Mike too, man. I watched the documentary on Mike, man, and I was just seeing everything and the ferocity that this cat had. You know what I mean? If we can bring a little bit of that into a business situation, man, you be Fortune 500, no question. It was just that sheer dominance, the will to want to be the best, you know, and that's what I think you offering. You offering cats a way to elevate from where they already are. And that's a ferociousness that some people don't have. And that's why, just like you were saying, that's why some people stay at the 10K mark, because you don't have that eye of the tiger, if you will.
You know, I mean, this is so funny you bring this up, because I literally just wrote this ad right before we were coming on. I was sending to my media buyer. I'd sent him a new video I want to run, and he asked me, hey, what do you want to do for the text?
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there thinking, like, what am I going to do? And I put stop fearing your own growth.
Ooh.
Because I think that really captures a subconscious desire not to risk. Not to risk the stability of 10K.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it's not, the risk is actually staying at 10K. Because 10K, oh man, 10K months, I can push you over with a light breeze, right? There's no resiliency in 10K. 10K is like, you know, you do one bad project and lose a handful of clients because of it, and you're done. Like 10K is nothing. So people think like, oh, you know, I'm making like 120K a month or a year. Like, that's all right. That's better than most people. I mean, yeah, most people are only making 50K, but you're also an entrepreneur. Your ability to make more than that is limitless. So like the risk is not, oh, you know, what if I pay this guy and I don't like him, or I don't like his advice? Well, there is no risk of that. I'm going to give your money back. And second of all, the real reason is because you're worried I'm going to tell you something that scares you, and you're going to want to chase it. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to admit you're scared to grow, or are you just going to? So people don't. I really think that's one of the things that when someone's stuck at 10, you know, when they're first stuck there, they want to keep going, and then it starts becoming comfortable, and then they're like, I don't know, man, 10's not so bad. I can go out and get Uber Eats whenever I want. Like, you know, I can keep this going. But meanwhile, they're burning the candle at both ends. They're working themselves into a tizzy. You know, they'll never have the freedom that's the whole reason they got into this business.
You're right, man. That's spot on, man. So at the end of every show, right? And I hate to stop getting this free game, but I like to have a little fun. I do this question and answer game, right? I give you a couple of choices and you have to choose. And a lot of times it's hard to choose, and I'll make it that way. I want to see where you're at. So here we go. Out of all the businesses that you've created, out of all the things that you've done as an entrepreneur, you can only keep one. Which one are you keeping?
I think this business. Like, because I've had other businesses that have been successful in varying capacities, and I've consulted at different capacities, but nothing has made me more excited and more happy than working with the clients I'm working for now. And even though, and I'm totally willing to admit, I mean, you know, in my corporate days, I was getting banked, man. I was getting banked for next to nothing. So I'm not making as much as I was making in my corporate days yet, because we're only 2 years into this adventure. But I wouldn't trade it, man. I wouldn't trade it for more money. Like, if someone came by and was like, hey, we want you to be CMO of Pillsbury, I think I'd probably pass, because it's just what I'd have to give up in happiness. Isn't worth it.
I like that. I like that. Second question. You have one thing to tell your client. Only one thing. What are you going to tell them?
It's about them, not you.
Ooh, yes, sir. Perfect. I like that. And you're right, man. A lot of times people get so wrapped up and emotional, and it's self-inflicted. Like, dude, it's not even you, it's
Oh
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I just had I had a prospect book some time with me here a little while ago, and he sent me his website. I took a look at it, and I was like, "This is just you, like showboating. Like you don't care about who's reading this at all. Like
yeah,
it's just me, 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 me."
yeah.
And I was like, I got to the end of it. I don't even know what you do. Like, can you explain to me what you do? And it turns out he's some kind of like, government contractor dude.
yeah,
But like, I couldn't tell that from the page because it was all about how he's the greatest this, and he's got these certifications, and he's
yeah,
this, and he's done this.
yeah.
And it's like, that really is one of the biggest mistakes business owners make, is they forget that the reason they created this business was to help other people, not themselves.
There you
So
go.
like, you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah. All right, last one. I give you the phrase, "This is my moment." What's the first thing that comes to your mind? This is my moment.
It's a combination of two moments.
Okay.
The phrase reminds me of a screen it reminds me of a frame of a video that I shot with a old partner of mine. Yeah. And it was back when I was running a media production company, and it's on a video that I thought at the time this was going to be the big break. This was going to be the big shot.
Right.
And at the time it was. And like that project turned out being very successful for us. And it's one of those things I can look back on now and go, that was so small. That was nothing.
Yeah.
And so when I think of, this is my moment, I think about the dilation of those moments, and how when we're standing in front of the wall,
yeah,
and we have to scale it,
yeah,
it looks so much bigger from the ground than from the top of the wall. Because once we've scaled that challenge, we look back down and we go, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And so I think not to fear the moment. The moments are going to come, and you can't fear them. You have to embrace them. You have to, you can't waste them.
Yeah. I dig that, man. That's perfect. You know what? Listening to you, man, I have this saying, right? And I talk to people all the time. I tell them, man, you can't be mediocre and great at the same time, right? And I'm listening to you, and you have greatness, and you're giving game to help people be great. And just like you said, sometimes I think people are okay with being mediocre. They're okay with that they don't want to be great. Like, you just okay with being mediocre, but you talk great. You talk great, but you don't want to do what it takes to be great. So you're okay with just being mediocre. And I tell people, man, you can't be mediocre and great. You got to choose. You got to choose. And sometimes
that's a really good point. I mean, that's the wantrepreneur problem. That's something that was a lot worse of a problem during the pandemic, because you had a lot of people with a lot of free time who were like, I'm going to start, a nano pet crypto project. And you're like, all right, cool. Do you know anything about NFTs? They're like, no, I'm watching some guy on YouTube. It's like, this ain't a business, man. Like, there's a difference between investing the time and resources and knowledge into actually creating a business and just saying you're an entrepreneur. And I mean, not to bring Gary Vee up twice, but he just happens to have a great saying on this about how there's going to be an ungodly purge of these entrepreneurs that don't really have the heart in it, because anytime there's a recession, which, if you count on the economists, there's one coming, like all of those folks that don't have the heart for it are gonna get wiped out. And so if you don't want to get caught in that riptide, you really got to start now. Like, you got to start planning and investing in your future now, because even though it may seem like it's batting down the hatches and we shouldn't be doing anything and we just got to ride this wave out, that's how you get capsized. That's how you get smashed upon the rocks, because time ain't gonna stop. Your moment's not gonna last.
You ain't lying, brother. Drew,
yep,
we done, brother. Man,
that was fun.
Hey, you know what's funny, man, is I'm listening to you, and as a small business owner, right, I'm over here taking notes, right, and I'm sending them.
I hope you were.
Oh yeah, hey, no question. And I'm sending them to Ashley as we're talking, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to get back to this. I wanna research a little bit more about this and listen at this and talk. So yeah, thank you very much, man, for coming on. Thank you for the free game.
Not a
Appreciate it.
problem, man. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Hey guys, now is your moment, man. Like, don't be scared to take that next step. Don't be afraid to move from 10K to 20K just because you're scared to lose the 10. Sometimes the loss is the fact that you don't try. So you gotta try. Take a gamble on yourself. And at the end of the day, go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.